Hi, welcome. I'm Cindy Horgan, and I'm so excited to be here with my dear friend, Mary Wilson.
Hi, Cindy. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. And we are starting off, we're going to be doing several of these, but we're starting off making sure that we're modeling really good safety around COVID right now. So we have our masks on while we're next to each other, but as we progress through our little moment here with you, we will take it off. It may be a little bit easier for you to understand us. Mary and I have been talking for quite some time about how we really wanted to be able to support parents in so many ways. And one of the ways that we felt strongly was to really help them understanding how important they are in their children's development. And my biggest takeaways to the way our children grow, it's through experience and it's through relationship. And that primary person is you. And so Mary and I decided we were going to really extend ourselves here and just give you some real good information, we hope, and know that you are the first and most important teacher of your child, and we are here to support you in that journey.
So we're going to talk a little bit about some different areas of development, some different domains of development, and we're going to be using the Ages and Stages questionnaire, which is a parent filled out questionnaire about children's development. And because of that, we're going to be able to have some different activity ideas that are going to be related to different domains. So the ASQ is what we call it, has 5 different domains, and it goes for children from 1 month to 5.5 years old. And we really want to encourage families to think about doing it and take advantage of this great opportunity to learn more about your child's development. So today we're going to be talking about communication. And I'm going to let Cindy talk a little bit about that.
Communication. Our little people are so amazing, and Mary's giving me my space. And that thing about communication, language development, oral development, they're all so connected. And believe it or not, our little people are starting to engage in the communication world when they're still inside of us. They're listening and they're hearing and they're responding to it. And sound is amazing. And when we think about how many different languages exist in the world and how brilliant each child comes in being capable of learning that. And how does that happen? And just as I said a few minutes ago, it happens because of experience and relationship. And we as parent and caregiver, we are the big moment here. And how do we do it? We do it by talking and really being able to be active in the child's world, narrating what is happening, even in those first few moments when that child is born and we are saying, hello, little buddy, I'm so glad you're here. Just that happening is connecting all kinds of things in this little person's brain. And as we're doing that talking and the narrating of our day, I know that for me as a mom of young children, I just talked about everything I was doing. I said, oh, I'm going to get ready to change this diaper. And oh boy, let's hope we get this done quickly. And I went on and I had my own little talk show going. And they were watching in amazement as that happened. So many places that this is happening for us, and the things that we do just in our daily activities are encouraging the communication development, the language development in our children, from talking, from singing, from being able to just hold them and cuddle with them and coo back to them as they're speaking to us. When they give us that sound and we give it back, that's what we call a serve and return. And when a child is having that experience with us as a parent or caregiver, they're learning that I'm connected to the world, and they're going to continue to try and expand that. One of the things that I talk about always in the work that I do is one of the most important parts of our family design is the way that we share meals and how we sit at that table and conversation is a part of it. We have in our world, we have cultures that are called high context and low context. Some of us talk all the time. We're just endless. And some of us, there's a very little talking, but there's a great deal of communication going on for our children in their development. And a lot of it is our children's observation and how they read the world around them. So Mary and I are going to really be talking about how this happens. And for you in your day, if you said, how can I be my child's first and most important teacher? Talk to them, touch them, coo back with them, read to them. From the moment they arrive, start reading to them and exposing them to books. A child that can read can do anything in this lifetime. And that's how they develop their language and their capacity. The other part that we're doing in creating this or supporting this domain of development is we're giving our children really the framework for life. And so when we think about communication, one of the big parts of our job as parent and caregiver is, with all of the talking that we're doing, connecting it to emotion. So that little one that's 2 months old that is really hungry and we're not moving fast enough, when we say, wow, you're really frustrated, they're not necessarily going, thanks for understanding me, but that word and that feeling are making a connection. And when we repeat it again and again, what happens is we have a child that grows, and as they create and their language develops, when more words become part of who they are, they're able to say, I feel really frustrated. That's amazing when children can do that. It's accessing that brain and getting them to a place where they can be a problem solver and a thinker. So Mary's going to help us today talk about all these different ways that communication is happening and how we're supporting that development. So thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. So yes, I have some really fun and interesting ways to support communication development. And you're already doing a lot of this at home. I know you are. If you are talking to your child and you're having any conversation, you are building communication skills. However, we want to give you some more ideas because, sometimes it gets old. So I wanted to just talk about all the different ways that we do communicate, because talking is one thing, singing is another thing. And singing with rhymes and rhythm really helps build a lot of your child's communication skills. They come to anticipate things. Rhyming is great pre-reading activity. And then there's also the body language. So when babies are looking at your face, which is really one of the most important places for them to be looking, they're watching every movement in your face. They're seeing you smile. They're seeing you cry. They're seeing you make faces. They're seeing you make silly faces. Make a lot of silly faces. They love that. And then they start to anticipate what might be coming next in terms of how you're feeling. And then they are going to start to feel a certain way too. Cindy talked about doing this narration, about communicating all the time. So you can sing to your baby and toddler about what you're doing. Sports casting is what one of my friends calls it. And she would say, I see you walking down the street. Look at Johnny walk down the street. And using your child's name in a song is so great because it builds on their self-confidence and social, personal relationships, so they start to know who they are. And that's a really important thing for you to be building in your child too. Another thing that we do in terms of communication is reading. And reading is so important. I can't even stress it enough. Reading is one of the things that is a special thing that you can do with your child. And reading with your child when they're a baby is fabulous. I like to use what's called indestructible books with babies because they can put them in their mouths, you can take them in the bathtub, you can wash them in the dishwasher. They're actually called indestructibles. And the next stage would be a board book. Because they're thick and hard and they're easy for babies to manipulate with their fingers, they can use board books better. They will put them in their mouth, and that's okay too, and you can just wash it down with a clean cloth, but babies love to be read to. Sometimes you don't think that they understand anything that you're reading, but you know what they do understand? You're having this close moment here, and you're looking at them in their face, and you're holding up and you're having an experience. And every experience you have with your child builds brain cells, and it's a fabulous thing. So this book I picked out, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, How I Wonder What You Are, You can sing a story too. If you get one that has a song, and it will stop a toddler in their tracks. I guarantee it. If you open up a book and you start to sing it, they will stop what they're doing and they will come over because they want to know what's happening. Songs will brighten your day. It will help transitions. It's a wonderful thing. And then when they start to get old enough and they're paying attention in your lap as a toddler or a preschooler, you can start to run your finger along the word and they start to understand that that word means something. And then you can start to leave off the last word because rhyming, again, is important. So twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Do you see the star? Ask them if they see something. And if they're too young to point, you point after, give them a minute, and then you point and say, there it is. And then when they start to develop a little more skill in being able to point to things, they're going to know that's what you were asking them to do. Building on this would be working with a preschooler. Same thing, but you've got a little paper book and you can do the same thing with songs, but extend the story a little bit more. Like maybe, what do you think is going to happen next? Do you see something red in this? What is the bunny holding? What is the bunny doing? So that you're getting some conversation and you're also building on comprehension skills so that they understand what's going on in the story. You can also say, do you tie your shoes? Where are your shoes? Go get your shoes. Give them some simple commands and they will be able to do that too. Some of my other favorite things to do to build communication is cooking. One of my favorite things to do is to cook, and when I'm cooking with a toddler, or even if I have an infant next to me, I'm stirring and stirring. I'm going to pour, 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 pour. Narrate again. Simple stuff with little babies and toddlers, and as they get older, I think I should add a cup of sugar. Do you think a cup of sugar would be good for me to add? And ask your child that. See if they would like to join you in that process and have that conversation about what you're doing. That's a great thing to do. Next on my fun list is my goodie bag. So I love to get super excited about something in a bag. I like to use pillowcases sometimes, or if you have a bag that's opaque like this and they can't see what's in it, get excited. Let them see your face get excited. I wonder what's in there. Let's see. And we're going to be giving things names because we want to build vocabulary, and experts say that by the time a child is 2, they should have about 200 words. So you want to give them as many opportunities to be able to have words. And this is one way to do it. I found a green cup. What do I do with a cup? Show me. And give it to your child and see if they know what to do with a cup. What else is in here? What else is What's that? Oh, it's a scarf. And here's another game you can play. I have the scarf on my head. I want you to take it off. Off. Take it off. This would be a toddler, even a baby might be able to do this when they get old enough to reach out and grasp for things with one hand. It's soft, and I can make it fly. Using lots of words to describe, always a great thing. What is this? Give them a minute to answer you. That's right, a spoon. What do we do with a spoon? Eat. We eat with a spoon. What is that? That is an apple. For an older child, where do you think I got this from? Oh, the grocery store. Where does it come before it comes to the grocery store? Have those conversations. Things that make sounds are great too, because you can do patterning with that and go shake, shake, stop. Shake, shake, stop. Shake and stop are two new words, but they're getting to know what those words mean. And you're also building on impulse control, because when I say stop, I'm gonna stop. And give them those opportunities to have that power of stopping too. And then I found a bumpy green ball. 3 words, bumpy green ball. As they get older, they're gonna start stringing words together to make sentences. And so you wanna be practicing that early on. You don't need to wait until they can do it. You start when they're a baby. I found a green ball. I'm going to bounce it, bounce it, bounce it, or roll it. And you can play those games and use those words so that you're giving them the words for the action and the description. Another favorite, puppets. Some of you might know me for the puppet thing, but look, I want Johnny to eat his vegetables. Yeah, and look what I have. Hi, I'm Butternut Squash. Butternut Squash. If you're having dinner time and you want to introduce a new vegetable, stick some Google eyes on it and have it talk. We can have a whole conversation at the dinner table. I can tell you what's inside me, and then you can try some of it. That would be fun, wouldn't it? And let me just tell you, this stops toddlers in their tracks too. You don't have to have a crazy voice. Any voice that's different than yours would do, but you just make him move and you talk for him. And then I have, of course, a baby one. I'm a honey nut squash. I'm a butternut squash. And together, we're vegetables. It's fun. Always have fun with your child. There's so many things that you can do to support your child's development and communication. And we hope that we've given you a couple new ideas. And if you have any questions about the ASQ, Ages and Stages Questionnaire, give us a call. We're here for you. CapeCodChildren'sPlace.com, or you can call our phone number 508-240-3310, and you can ask to get an ASQ sent to you online. I'm going to just read a couple questions so that you can kind of have an idea of what it is. So again, there's 5 domains: communication, gross large motor, fine motor, which is your fingers and your toes, problem solving, and personal communication, personal social communication. So we talked about communication today. So here's one of the first questions. Does your baby make 2 similar sounds, such as baba, dada, or gaga? This would be for a 12-month-old. And you're going to answer yes, sometimes, or not yet. Because, like Cindy said, children are on a developmental roll. And they're going to be in a continuum going from not being able to do something to practicing it to accomplishing it. And these are some ways that you can learn all about your baby and your child as they grow up. And you don't have to do it just once. You can do it more than once and see how they're developing. You'll learn a lot more about them that way. So thanks again for joining us. Cindy, do you want to take over from here?
I love when Mary does her stuff. Here, Mary, so you're practicing. As Mary was pointing out, so much of this, I think when I realized that I had this big responsibility of being a parent to this little human being and what was going to happen, what came so naturally was play and was who I was and using that language and how I did that. So I think what Mary shared with us today is some ways to do and be creative in doing that. But it's a great opportunity, and the ASQ allows us to know how our child's doing. What's really valuable to this whole process in contacting Cape Cod Children's Place or speaking with any of us that do this work is we can also provide you with a lot of resources for different activities that you can do with your children. Right from, you don't need a lot of things. They're the things that live right within our home that allow us to do this. And so when we start to do this work, it becomes a natural part of how our family works. And so reminding you of how important it is in your work to remember that relationship and experience are the key factors, and you are so significant. And knowing that when we start to ask questions and we go through a process like the ASQ, sometimes we might say, wow, my child might need a little support in this area, and this is the time to provide that support. So you're not alone in this journey. We are with you on it. And so again, we strongly encourage you to be an active participant in this community and let us be part of it with you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.